Okay, we'll start the next part. So this is the first step. She sang first of the birth of love in the heart of a boy and a girl. So this is what we call as this calf love, right? This is what we call the calf love at the teenage, and it has no color. That is the birth of the love, birth of love. So that is represented with a marvelous rose, right? And it has no color, pale as the feet of the morning. Pale was it at first, right? And of the morning, and silver as the wings of the dawn, as the shadow of a rose in a mirror of silver. Silver mirror, just like uh, silver color here means actually colorless, no color. දැන් අපි නිකන් වතුර වීදුරුවක් දිහා බැලුවහම we see some kind of a silver color, but actually it has no color, right? Just like a glass mirror, right? Or a glass rose. It's like a glass rose. නිකන් වීදුරු වලින් රෝස මලක් හැදුවාම ඒක නිකන් පොඩි සිල්වර් කලර් එකක් වගේ එකක් පේනවා, but actually it has no color, right? So this is the birth of love, right? As we discussed, this love has no color, no emotions. I mean, no serious emotion, right? Just the love, pure love. That is why it has no color, right? එතකොට මේ at first, the feeling of love that is born in the heart is colorless and it's very pure, right? So that is the first stage of love, right? It has no color, nothing. But the tree cried to the nightingale, "Press closer, little nightingale," cried the tree, "or the day will come before the rose is finished." So the sacrifice should be fulfilled, completed. So the rose plant or the rose tree compels, urges, reinforces the nightingale to sacrifice. Press closer against the thorn. So the nightingale pressed closer against the thorn, and louder grew her song. For she sang the birth of passion in the soul of a man and maid. The love that is born in the hearts of, in the souls of man and maid. So this is somewhat matured love. Matured love. And actually, this is more than love. This is passion. Right? අන්න අර second stage එකට එනකොට that becomes passion, the desire. Right? අර first love එකට වඩා වෙනස් මේක. Man and maid. boy and girl neme. So the love is matured. Another step forward. එතකොට මේ desire එක නිසා, passion එක නිසා, because of this love, people get married. Right? මේ passion කියන එකත් එක්ක තව එනවා the physical relationships connected with the love. Matured love. එතකොට මේක ඇවිල්ලා second stage එක. Right? The second stage of love. The passion that is born in the hearts or the soul of the man and the maid. A delicate flush of pink. අන්න බලන්න වෙනස. Pink color. මේක අර love of the girl and the boy වගේ නෙමෙයි. It has a color. The color of desire. Pink. A delicate flush of pink came into the leaves of the rose, like the flush of the face of the bridegroom when he kisses the lips of the bride. ඒකටම ගැලපෙන comparisons පාවිච්චි කරලා තියෙනවා. Right? මම අර කිව්වේ marriage එක, man and the maid, passion, right? ඒවත් එක්ක එන ඒවා තමයි මේ bride, bridegroom, kissing, right? Bride මේ කියන second stage එක. Birth of passion. The flush in the face of the bridegroom when he kisses the lips of the bride. But the thorn had not yet reached her heart. So the rose's heart remained white for only a nightingale's heart blood. මෙන්න මේක නිසා තමයි අපි මුලින්ම කතා කරේ the idea of nightingale in Greek mythology. Right? How Philomela and Pose became the swallow and the nightingale because of the sacrifice. Right? So with a great sacrifice like that, only the heart's blood of one who sacrifices, one who has performed a great sacrifice. Only such blood can make the symbol of love. Only nightingale's heart blood can crimson the heart of a rose. So that means love has another stage to make it perfect. It is not the first one, it is not the second one, but it is the third one, third stage. So it's not this love that is born in the heart of the girl and the boy. It's not the love that is born in the soul of the man and the maid. Right? It has another level, another meaning. True love. අපි මේ discuss කරන්නේ about true love. And the tree cried to the nightingale to press closer against the thorn. Press closer, little nightingale, cried the tree, for the day will come before the rose is finished. Again, the rose tree, motivating, pursuing, urging, reinforcing the little nightingale to perform the task, to complete the task. So the nightingale pressed closer against the thorn, and the thorn touched her heart. So when the love touched the heart, we feel the pangs of pain. Shot through her. Bitter, bitter was the pain, and wilder grew her song. Now the true love is so painful. That is so painful. It's not just like the feeling at the first. It's not like the desire at the second stage, but it is something so serious and so painful. True love. Bitter and bitter was the pain, and wilder grew her song, for she sang of the love that is perfected by death. That is the third stage. The third stage of love. The love that is perfected by death. The love that dies not in the tomb. So normally everything comes to an end at tomb. නේද? මම දැක්කා ඉන්ටර්නෙට් එකේ ඇෆ්‍රිකන් මට හරියට මතක නෑ, either a writer or a philosopher or something like that. Now we love people, but you cannot see your death. How your loved ones behave after your death. නේ? ඒක නිසා හොඳම දේ තමයි මලගෙදරකට ගියහම අර අවසාන මොහොත බලන්න ඉන්න. Either the burial or the cremation. එක්ක වලලන එක, එහෙම නැත්නම් දැන් නම් ගොඩක් වෙලාවට කරන්නේ ක්‍රෙමේෂන් නේ, ආදාහනය කරන එකනේ. ඒ වගේ වෙලාවට බලන්න. මම මේ කතාව ඇහුවට පස්සේ තමයි ඇත්තටම මමත් ඒක ඒ ඇන්ගල් එකෙන් ඒක කොච්චර ඇත්තද කියලා බැලුවේ. මලගෙදරකට ගිහිල්ලා ඔය අවසානයේදී බලන්න. දැන් අර මරණය අරගෙන ඇවිල්ලා එතන තියලා දැන් ඥාති පිරිස තේරම අඬ මරණය මටේ ඇවිදලා අරක ආදාහනාගාරය ඇතුළට දාලා ගිනි තියා. ඒ ගිනි තියපු ක්ෂණයෙන් අර මෙච්චර වෙලා ඉඳපු අයගේ ඉමෝෂන්ස් සම්පූර්ණයෙන් වෙනස් වෙනවා. right? ඇත්තට 100%ක් ඒ කතාව හරි. ඕගොල්ලෝ දවසක මලගෙදරක ගිහිල්ලා අවසාන මොහොතේදී පැත්තකට වෙලා ඉඳගෙන මුළු මලගෙදර ආපු සියලුම දෙනා, this is literature, right? මම ඔකට පටන් ගන්න දවසම කිව්වනේ, literature is nothing. Literature is learning about the society and the people. ඒක කරන්න හැම තැනකදී. මේ ස්ටෝරීස් වල, පොයම්ස් වල ඉන්න කැරක්ටර්ස් සොසයිටි එකේ ඉන්නවා. මේ නයිටින්ගේල්ලා ඉන්නවා සොසයිටි එකේ. අර ග්‍රීන් ලිසාඩ්ලා ඉන්නවා කිසිම ඉමෝෂන් එකක් නැති. how ridiculous කියලා hina වෙන. young studentsලා ඉන්නවා materialistic. no sense. just the logical thinking. ඒ characters ඉන්නවා society එකේ. right? අර මරණේ පිච්චෙනකොට මේ අහෙන් දුන් දානවා. නේද? අර හාමුදුරුවෝ කිව්වා වගේ මේ අහසට පොළවෙන් නගින්නේ මේක දුමාරයයි. නේ? ඒ කතාවත් හරියටම හරි. කවුරුණත් මතක සුමානයයි. right? දැන් ඒ අර එන්වයරන්මන්ට් එකේදී නම් දැන් මේ මරණේ පිච්චෙනකොටම ඊළඟ ස්ටෙප් එක තමයි අර නෑයෝ ආපු අය හිතවත්තු ටික ටට්ටක් ගාලා බීම අල්ලනවා බිස්කට් අල්ලනවා. ඒකට ඒගොල්ලෝ දැන් කලබලයි. අර මෙච්චර වෙලා අඬ අඬ ඉඳපු අර මිනිස්සු තාම පිච්චෙන්න පටන් ගත්තෙත් නෑ. දැන් මේගොල්ලෝ කනවා බොනවා. බීම එකක් බොනවා බිස්කට් එකක් කනවා. දැන් යාළුවෝ මුණ ගැහිලා ඒ අය ගැන කතා වෙනවා. ඒ අය කොහෙද දැන් වැඩ කරන්නේ? දැන් කොහෙද අය මේ අර සතුරු සාමීචිය යනවා. දැන් අර පිච්චෙන පුද්ගලයා අමතකයි. මේක 100%ක් ඇත්ත. ඊට පස්සේ සමහරු යන විදියක් හොයනවා. අනේ මේ වැඩ ගොඩක ආවි මං ඉක්මනට යන්න ඕන කියලා ටක් ගාලා යනවා. මෙන්න මේ කතාවත් ඒකම තමයි. love that is perfected by death, of love that dies not in the tomb. So all the love comes to an end at tomb. එතනින් එහාට කවුරුත් නැහැ. ඒ ඔක්කොම ආදරේ, ඒ ඉමෝෂන්ස්, ඒ රිලේෂන්ෂිප්ස්, බොන්ඩ්ස් ඔක්කොම අර මිනිය පිච්චිච්ච ගමන් ඉවරයි. But the true love is different. It's the love that dies not in the tomb. That means the love beyond the grave. The love beyond the grave. That means actually eternal love. This is the true love. Right? This is the true love. The eternal love, or the love that dies not in the tomb. The love that goes beyond the grave. So this is the third stage of love. There's a different type of love. Our first love, second love, third love. First one is different from the second one. Second one is totally different from the third one. Third one is totally different from the first one and the second one. So this is the perfect love. The love that dies not in the tomb. So the Nightingale sings of the third love, the eternal love. And the marvelous rose became crimson, like the rose of western sky. Crimson was the girdle of the petals, and crimson as a ruby was the heart. Completely red rose. The rose is completely red. Girdle of petals, heart, everything is red. The red rose is created. The love is perfected. The love that goes beyond the tomb is created. But the nightingale's voice grew fainter, and little wings began to beat, and a film came over her eyes. Fainter and fainter grew her song. Now the blood is gone out of the body, and the nightingale becomes weaker and weaker. Sacrifice to create the red rose. She felt something choking in her throat. Choking, blocking. Something blocks the throat. Now it cannot sing anymore. Then she gave one last burst of music. The white moon heard it and forgot the dawn and lingered on the sky. Lingered means continued to stay on the sky. Continued, stayed on the sky. The rose heard it and trembled all over ecstasy with joy and opened its petals to the cold morning air. So the rose is created. The moon forgot. Why? Shocked. The moon is shocked. Why? Because of this sacrifice. Echo bore it to the purple caverns in the hill and woke the sheeping shepherds they are in from their dreams. It floated through the reeds of the river and they carried the message to the sea. So the message is spread everywhere. The birth of the true love, the great sacrifice. The news about the great sacrifice spread all over. The reeds to the river, river carried the message to the sea, everywhere. So the job is done. Look, look, cried the tree. The rose is finished. The rose is finished now. But the nightingale made no answer, for she was lying dead in the long grass with the thorn in her heart. So, enduring the pain, the nightingale dies, but for a worthy cause. To create a red rose, to create a red rose for a true lover. What Nightingale expects is the young student to become a true lover. Why? There are no true lovers. At last, there is a true lover. So, it's obvious that the nightingale determines to sacrifice for this true lover. ඒක බොහොම clear. Because in this materialistic society, there are no true lovers. So Nightingale believes that that's its duty to support this true lover by creating a red rose. So from that part, the sacrifice and the creation of red rose is over, and the nightingale is dead. So the young student went to sleep, and at noon, the student opened his window and looked out. Now, where is the rose plant? Where is the red rose plant? Hmm? Where was the first rose? Yes. Where was the first one? What is the color of the first rose? දැන් ඔළුවේ තියෙන්න ඕන මං අහනකොට උත්තර දෙන්න මං අහන්න කී කී අහන්න ඕන නෑ. Himashi, where was the first rose?
Pale color.
No, I mean where was the first rose plant that Nightingale flew? Where was that rose plant?
In the center of the grass plot.
In the center of the grass plot. What's the color of that?
White.
White. Lumbini, where was the second rose plant? Rose tree. The story itself says rose tree. Lumbini, where was the second rose tree?
Sir, I don't know.
I don't know. You should know.
I didn't attend the
Huh?
class. Read the
Okay,
question.
okay. Okay. Himashi,
Yellow color.
yellow, where was it?
Mm,
Where was it?
round the old sundial.
Around the old sundial. Then the third one. Where was the third one? Chenuli? Chenuli. Where was the third one? Hmm? Anyone?
Beneath the student's window.
Yeah, beneath the student's window, and that's the red rose plant. Right? මට ඒක අහගන්න ඕන උනේ මෙන්න මේක නිසා. Open the window and looked out. Right? So when the young student opens the window, directly he sees the rose. Why? What a wonderful piece of luck. Now see the difference. The young student sees this as a wonderful piece of luck. But actually, it's not luck, it's a sacrifice. But he thinks it's luck. Why? He thinks logically. Logically, there cannot be a rose, right? According to the knowledge, there cannot be a rose. So if there is a rose, that means it's a luck. Aham malak pipilamin. He cried, "Here is a red rose. I have never seen any rose like it in all my life. It's so beautiful that I'm sure it has a long Latin name." Any comments on this? It is so beautiful that I am sure it has a long Latin name. Now just think, you receive a red rose. You receive a very beautiful, very large red rose. When you see it, what would you think of it? Hmm? දැන් ඒ වගේ ලස්සන රෝස මලක් දැක්ක ගමන් what do you feel? What do you think? What do you think of the flower? ඒ රෝස මල ගැන මොනවද හිතන්න පටන් ගන්නේ? Its delicate petals, soft petals, colors, and the formation of the flower. නේ? අර ඒ වගේ ඒක තමයි මම අර කලින් කිව්වේ the aesthetic sense and the smell of the flower. We tend to think of these things. The smell, the softness, නිකන් මලේ petals අල්ලලා soft ගතිය බලන්න හිතෙනවා. Right? The beauty, the color, මේ වගේ just you admire that flower. But see, the young student's idea, his interpretation, it has a long Latin name, the scientific value. ඒකේ තියෙන අර natural beauty. එහෙම නැත්නම් delicateness, softness, sweet smell, ඒ වගේ senses වලට අහු වෙන ඒවා නෙමෙයි. He thinks of something material. It should have a long scientific name. He leaned down and plucked it. Then he put it on his hat and ran up to the professor's house with a rose in his hand. Now the request is completed. Right? So that is what the professor's daughter needs. මතක තියාගන්න මේ characters ගැන ඇහුවොත් දැන් අර කිව්වේ young student, this is the daughter of the professor or professor's daughter. ඔයගොල්ලන්ගේ characters ගැන ඇහුවොත් ඔයගොල්ලෝ නම් දෙන්න ඕනේ. එහෙම girl කියලා හරියන්නේ නැහැ. That is not the girl, that is the daughter of the professor or professor's daughter. That is not the boy, the young student. Right? The daughter of the professor was sitting in the doorway, wound in blue silk on a reel, and her little dog was lying at her feet. Now this is what we call this Victorian morality. Right? The Victorian morality. What is this Victorian morality? During the reign of Queen Victoria, right? During the reign of Queen Victoria, England was transformed. Right? මේ Queen Victoria ගේ time period එකේ මේ Victorian literature කියන එක හරි වෙනස්. For example, Charles Dickens, Charlotte Bronte, George Eliot, මේ වගේ writers ලා. Saki, right? Then ඒකම අරගෙන බලමු අපි. The Lumber Room මොනවද තියෙන්නේ? how the children are punished to moralize them using the religion. Evil forces tend me to be disobedient. You are the evil one. Using the religion to moralize, using the religion to moralize the children, to discipline the children, right? එක තියෙනවා. Punishments, right? ජේන් අය ගත්තත් එහෙමයි. Right? How she was put in a convent to moralize her. George Eliot ගේ ගත්තොත් Mill on the Floss. ඒකෙත් ළමයි moralize කරනවා. Maggie, right? The girls who cut their own hair should be whipped and fed on bread and water. Right? මේ වගේ අර discipline වෙච්ච discipline society එකක් තමයි expect කරේ. එතකොට මේ society එක අර high level aristocratic type ladies and gentlemen අන්න ඒ වගේ class එකක් තමයි create කරේ. එතකොට ඒකට support වුණා මේ Victorian traditions. Right? දැන් ලංකාවට වුණත් මේ තාමත් අපි ඉන්නේ මේ Victorian values වලනේ. Victorian values. අර අපිට තාම ඒ values වලින් අයින් වෙන්න බැරි වුණා. Right? අපි ඒක පස්සේ දවසක කතා කරමු in detail. Okay? So this is this Victorian morality. මොනවාද? Winding blue silks, may patchwork, knitting, these types of works were very common during this Victorian time period. The girls were trained to be ladylike, right? The girls were trained to be ladylike, and they just do this knitting or patchwork. ඒ වගේ අර වෙනමම ස්ටයිල් එකකට ගෑනු ළමයි හුරු කරා. To be ladylike. Then even this little dog, symbol of this class, නේද? දැන් නිකමට හිතන්නකෝ මං අර කිව්වේ අපි තාම Victorian morality වල හිර වෙලා ඉන්නවා කියලා. අපි ඇත්තටම අපේ ගෙදර හදන බල්ලගෙන් අපේ social class එක පෙන්වන්න try කරන්නේ නැද්ද? නේ? ඒ බල්ලෙක් ගෙනාවහම එන එක්කෙනාට මේ බල්ලගේ creed එක ගැන කියනවා, pedigree එක කියනවා, මෙයාගේ ආච්චිලා සීයලා ඒ කට්ටිය they were from England, නේද? So this has a very good pedigree. Dogs ලගේ තියෙනවා වෙනම pedigree card එකක් තියෙනවා. නේ? That differs from whether that is a Lion Shepherd or a German Shepherd or a Rottweiler or whatever. They have that system. So with the dog given, we try to show our social status. Right? නිකං එහෙම ගෙදර අර මෙහි local වල් බල්ලෙක් හැදුවට කිසි quality එකක් නැහැ. හදනවා නම් අර වගේ පෙඩිග්‍රී එකක් තියෙන හැම බල්ලෙක් හදන්න ඕන. එතකොට තමයි ගෙදර මිනිස්සුන්ටත් ලොකු පෙඩිග්‍රී එකක් එන්නේ. නේද? So these are these Victorian traditions, moralities, Victorian mentality, right? So now you see the professor's daughter represents these Victorian values, right? Where the prominent place is given for the material value, right? Blue silks, the dog. So the young student comes. You said that you would dance with me if I brought you red roses, cried the young student. Cried the student. Here is the reddest rose in the world. You will wear it tonight next to your heart. And as we dance together, it will tell you how I love you. So, the young student presented the rose as demanded by the professor's daughter, right? So, she demanded the rose. Now, the young student hands over the rose. But the girl frowned. That means the girl showed no any agreement. I'm afraid it will not go with my dress, she answered. And besides, Chamberlain's nephew has sent me some real jewels, and everyone knows jewels cost far more than flowers. Chamberlain's nephew. Chamberlain means royal servant, a servant of the palace. එතකොට Chamberlain's නුත් නෙමෙයි, Chamberlainගේ nephew has sent me some real jewels. මෙන්න මං අර කිව්ව material status එක. Now you can compare Chamberlain with the young student who has a high value. One who knows all the secrets of philosophy and one who knows uh, everything that the wise men have written, knowledge. And Chamberlain, a royal servant. අර material value එක දෙන තැනක value එක දෙන්නේ අර Chamberlain's nephew. නේද? නූගත් මහා ව්‍යාපාරිකයෙකුයි මහාචාර්යවරයෙකුයි එකම ගමේ ඉන්නව නම් මිනිස්සු කාටද රෙස්පෙක්ට් කරන්නේ? මහාචාර්යවරයටද එහෙම නැත්නම් කෝටිපති නූගත් ව්‍යාපාරිකයට? Right? So that is what the material value refers to. People see the material value of everything, even in lives. ඒකනේ මිනිස්සු ඕනම දෙයක් කරලා සල්ලි හම්බ කරන්න හදන්නේ. Because the society respects the money, material status. So the professor's daughter says, okay, the Chamberlain's nephew, real jewels, material value, flowers. This is not just the flower. The story behind this flower, the great sacrifice of Nightingale. Can you compare these two? මේ sacrifice එක අර කරපු Nightingale. Can you compare that sacrifice with some real jewels? The jewels have a value, but this sacrifice, it doesn't have a value. You cannot value it. It's invaluable. Well, upon my word, you are ungrateful, said the student angrily, and threw the rose into the street. See how quick they are. The young student doesn't feel the pain that the nightingale underwent to create this red rose. So he can easily throw it away. Right? ඒකත් මේ බලන්න මේ answer එක මේ react එක. See the difference, the answer and the reaction? Without further comments, without further clarifications, without engaging in any explanations, requesting any explanations, quick decisions. Throw the flower. If you don't want, throw it away. Where it fell into the gutter and a cartwheel went over it. So it's not just the rose. It's the life of the nightingale. It's the heart's blood of nightingale. So you see, nightingale's sacrifice, nightingale's effort is wasted. මං අර මුලින්ම කිව්ව කතාව දැන් ඕගොල්ලන්ගෙන් අහන්න. Is the young student really a true lover? Yes. Is the young student really a true lover, Himashi?
No.
Why? Why do you say no? Then why did the nightingale sacrifice? As Abindi? ඇයි nightingale sacrifice කරේ එහෙනම්? Yes? Generally? Why did the nightingale? Yes, Abindi?
Because it thought that the young student is a true love.
Yes. මට ඕන වචනය ආවේ නෑ. What you say is correct, but I want a special word. Generally? Nightingale thought that the young student is a true lover, but now we feel he is not. That means the nightingale misunderstood. Since there are no true lovers, the nightingale exactly and who a true lover is. So the nightingale misunderstood the young student as a true lover. Ungrateful, said the girl. I tell you what, you are very rude, and after all, men point එක. After all, who are you? Only a student. Why, I don't believe you have even got silver buckles to your shoes, as Chamberlain's nephew has. And material value. Comparison. She compares the Chamberlain's nephew's shoes. Even you don't have shoes like that. with silver buckles. She got up from her chair and went into the house. What a silly thing love is, said the young student as he walked away. It is not half as useful as logic. Ah, මං මුලින් කිව්වේ. Logical thinking. Logically හිතුවා there is no red rose. So, can't do anything. This is the winter season, no red roses. It is impossible to have a red rose. Logic. She demanded the red rose. I gave her the red rose. She should dance with me. But it doesn't prove. He gave the red rose, but the young girl says no. So it doesn't prove anything. For it doesn't prove anything. And it is always telling one thing that are not going to happen. දැන් මෙතනත් අපිට තේරුම් ගන්න තියෙන්නේ young student has misunderstood the meaning of love. අපි ඒක මුලදීත් කතා කරා. Right? He was highly worried and he was crying. Right? දැන් අන්න එතන මතක් කරලා බලන්න ආයිම. He was crying just because thinking about the joy he is going to miss. My hands will be clasped in her hands. She would lean her head on my shoulder. Right? I shall hold her in my arms. An a expectation a lust, desire, passion. ඒක තමයි young student හිතුවේ. That is love. So when he cannot achieve it, he blames the love. What a silly thing love is, said the student as he walked away. It is not half as useful as logic, for it does not prove anything. And it is always telling one thing, one of the things that are not going to happen, and making one believe things that are not true. In fact, it is quite unpractical. But Nightingale proved that it is practical. Right? එතකොට ඒක දිහා බලන කෙනා සහ එයාගේ attitude එක අනුව it differs. So the young student sees love in a different way. The Nightingale sees love in a different way. And the professor's daughter sees the love in a different way. Question එකක් එන්න පුළුවන්. And as this is the age to be practical, logic, practical age, materialism, I shall go back to philosophy and metaphysics. Metaphysics is connected with this materialism. So he turned to his room and pulled out a great dusty book and began to read. A great dusty book. That is also important. Right? So it's something dull and boring. It's not sweet as love. Right? This materialism or this materialistic knowledge is represented with this great dusty book and began to read. So he goes back to his own world where he values knowledge, logic, and materialism. Right. Okay. Now it is for you the time to read once again, to go through the story once again and read it for several times. Okay? You read the story for several times. Not once, not twice, but several times. You read it. Right? Read the story again and again. Okay? Read the story again and again and be familiar with that. The characters, the ideas, right? This is somewhat, I don't say it's difficult, but the ideas are different, right? Difficult nemei, ideas are different. Something like this materialism, true love, මේ කියන දේවල් එකපාරට මුලුවට යන්නේ නැහැ. Right? Then ගත්ත knowledge එකත් එක්ක read the story 2-3 times. ඒ කියවනකොට try to understand each character separately. Young student's character, professor's daughter's character, and the Nightingale's character, Daisy, butterfly, green lizard, right? All the characters. Try to understand them. Right? Okay then. This has to be done very carefully. Right? මම ඒක නිසා තමයි මේ lesson එකට මේ ටිකක්